appropriate to give up and use that rationalization as an excuse, and how do you distinguish?
Especially seeing as we're not transparent to ourselves.
Well, right, exactly. So that is genuinely a moral hazard. So one of the principles that I tried to abide by in my therapeutic discussions was you can change course as long as the next thing you do is equally or more difficult, because that's a check against just giving up. So you want to discipline yourself so you can get yourself organized so that you can go in a particular direction, so that when you find the right direction, you can really go in that direction. And that does require an apprenticeship of sorts. And it might not matter in some sense exactly what the apprenticeship is, as long as it is rigorous.
People presume in the beginning that passion and purpose and meaning and joy and fulfillment are the things that get people going. But as I've said, of all of the high performers that I've spoken to, the vast majority of them are driven by insufficiency and resentment and terrible parents or terrible upbringings or a chip on their shoulder about bullies in school. Pick your poison. They have decided to use that to create the activation energy.
What's the missing piece in your life? What's the thing that brought you joy as a kid that you've pushed aside? What is the most uncomfortable conversation with yourself that you've been running away from your entire life? Do you have the courage to engage with that? Are you willing to do a little bit more work? Can you pull back another layer on who you are? Are you man enough to do that? We all have stuff we don't want to deal with, stuff we compartmentalize, or we think, well, I just put that one away and I'm not going to worry about that. I'm good. True growth, true expansion, and ultimately your highest expression and the manifestation of your greatest potential is inextricably connected to and linked to that willingness and courage to do that stuff that you don't want to do.
I think one of the themes of your worldview that I've become familiar with is alchemizing bad times into good ones. A reminder that things that seem bad can end up being good. And in retrospect, I think it's obvious and almost romantic to think about that alchemy in that way. But in the moment, basically impossible. How can people, or how do you have more of that perspective during a hard time?
My undeniable optimism and faith that this isn't all it is. And if it is, so what? That's okay. Well, then really, so what? You know what I mean? What's the big deal? I seem to have a tendency not to make a bigger deal out of things that other people make a bigger deal.
And one of the core beliefs I developed over the years was just that I think everything happens for a reason. I think there's a higher purpose. I think it's my job to find it. I think that life happens for us, not to us, but it's our job to figure it out. So that's where that belief comes from. That's like, life has been happening for me. I don't know if you relate to this in my bed as you could. It's like, have you ever had something happen in your life that was horrible? I mean, it was painful. You'd never want to go through it again in a million years. You wouldn't want anybody else to go through it that you care about. But after 5 or 10 years, you look back and you say, I never want to go through it again. But now I see the wisdom in it.
I'm glad
it's like it made me care so much more. It made me so much stronger. It made something in me more.
Things are not what they are. Things are what we think they are. For instance, doing a hard workout gives you a signature feeling. You're laid on the floor, panting, heart rate at 180, sweating from everywhere with the taste of metal in your mouth. This is oddly enjoyable. But if this exact same sensation was to spontaneously occur in your car while you were sat in traffic, you'd call the ambulance for fear that you're having a heart attack. Framing is everything.
The worst days of my life were in war, losing my friends, and war is horrible. And the way I responded to it, and I asked him if he had ever known anyone that had cancer and had come out the other side. And he said yes. And I said, oftentimes those people say, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I'm glad it happened to me because it gave me such a better perspective about life and about value and about the fragility of life and all those things. And that's the way I feel about combat. I don't wish it on anybody, but I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And so I think what you're talking about is a great way of looking at your past to say, oh, okay. I had some hardships and I benefited from those. It's basically the same thing as saying, got bullied? Good. Now I know how to handle myself a little bit better. I didn't have a bunch of friends? Good. Now I feel more comfortable when I'm alone. I think it's the same sort of attitude in both those situations.
I realized that reliably, the quality of my work was better if I suffered. Therefore, if I suffered, I usually got better outcomes.
And you feel good about yourself because you suffered.
Correct.
You worked for it, you earned it.
So the lead indicator of what would be a lagging measure, the lead indicator was suffering, the lagging measure would be success. Then, this is the thing that I did. I shortcutted the success part and went straight to the suffering part. And if success came without suffering, I felt like it wasn't worthy. I felt like I hadn't worked hard enough to get it. Nothing is going to be worthwhile that doesn't come with an associated amount of discomfort. Therefore, when you start to feel friends around you and the people that you used to be able to speak a common language with start to push back and start to make the quips of, oh, not drinking tonight, yeah? Oh, you must be too cool for us now. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. That is the lead indicator, not even the lagging indicator. That is the lead indicator that you are doing the right thing. If you know that there is something that you're meant to do, if you know that there's something that you're meant to change, you will have to let certain groups, friends, routines, places, activities, recreations that you do, you're going to have to let those go. And there is this, the Rocky cutscene lasts for 90 seconds in the movie, but it can last for 5 years in your life. And you have no idea whether or not it's even going to work. And that's the bit that always got to me. The bit that always got to me was I didn't even know if there was going to be any glory on the other side. It's like ordering an Uber and never knowing if it's going to arrive or not. You think, well, I'm just stood here doing the thing, but I don't know if it's going to come out on the other side. And I can promise you, anybody that has done anything, moved from any place they were to any place that they want to be, has gone through this lonely chapter. The pushback you are getting is the indicator that you are doing the right thing. It is. And if you can reframe the distaste that you get from other people as the same as that.
Because they're projecting the things that they know they should be doing that you are doing that they're not doing, and you remind them of that.
If everything is easy in life, if everyone loves what you're going to do, and you have no enemies, you have no opposition, nothing to resist, you're just going to be mush. You're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to be able to push yourself. You're not going to be able to change, evolve. Muhammad Ali said, if I didn't have Joe Frazier around, I would not have become the great boxer that I am. I mean, he would have been a great boxer anyway, but a nemesis like Joe Frazier put me on a much higher level.
Because I know every motherfucker ain't going to do what I'm going to do. So this is how you level up.